Hello, everybody. Welcome and a very good afternoon. Today is Saturday, and here we are again with our Saturday lives. Today, I have a very special person that I have here in the studio with me, and it's Amrutha Langs or Amrutha Joshi Amdekar. And there is a special reason why she calls herself Langs, which we are going to hear from her. But for now, I think I would like to say about how I got to know Amrita. I have not yet met her. I have spoken to her on the phone. We have chatted on WhatsApp, and our connection is here because we both homeschool. In fact, she homeschools, I unschool, but both are driven by self learning, and we
Correct.
try to focus on self learning as much as possible for our children. So, I will talk a little about her during the session as to how she has impacted me and made a difference to my life as the session goes on. But now I'm going to ask Amrita to share a little about herself and tell us more about herself, her family, her son, and everything. Yes, Amrita,
Okay.
over to you.
Thank you, Sharmila. Thank you for inviting me. Uh, well, how did we start homeschooling? Telling bit about myself. I am Amrutha Langs, as you correctly introduced me. So, Langs is languages. Primarily, I'm a polyglot. So, a polyglot is a person who speaks more than five languages. So, I have knowledge of 22 foreign languages. I've been working in this field for a lot of years, for more than 12, 13 years. Um, as a teacher, as a translator, interpreter, writing, working, taking my students on cultural exchange programs. So, as a student and as a teacher, I have traveled across, and uh, primarily my entire profession too has been revolving constantly around education. So, being an educator myself, I always felt that when I have a child, this was even before I got married. So when I get married and I have my children, I will want to do have something different for. I didn't know exactly what to call that, but I just knew that I didn't want the run of the mill things, uh, and then obviously when I got married and I had my son, I totally forgot. Okay, I totally forgot that I had something like this in my mind, and then the same thing happened to me. That generally happens to, I think, all the parents. You start searching for schools. All of a sudden, the child is born, and you are hunting for schools. And I'm running to from one school to another school, and like a sheet with me and check boxes, and okay, this school gets a cross here and this school gets the tick here and there, and all of this is on. And okay, just a minute, someone is just honking in the building. Okay, yeah, better. So I've been doing all of this, and then comes time when all of a sudden me and my husband sit and I go like, no, this is not this is not right. I mean, why are we running here and there? And uh, that is the time the thought process started. And so what
Mhm.
happened is that I am the creative one. I am the out of the box thinking person in our relationship, and my husband is more like a very he wants everything on an Excel sheet, and he is very I won't call in the box, but
Organized.
he's very, he's structured, so he needs a
Mhm.
structure everywhere, and I am like, uh, I need plain big canvases, and he needs Excel sheets. So that's the difference. And then he was little scared initially, that how are we going to go about this. but he has always shown complete faith in me, and he was like, even if I am not that kind of a person, I believe in you, you know. So let's do it. Let's try. Let's give it a try. I mean, and then we tried homeschooling for a year, and but that time what happened is there were a lot of things that were happening in the society, not in our family, but
Mhm.
around the people around. And somewhere I felt that my son was not ready to answer such questions. He was very small, he was just 5 years old that time. And I
Mhm.
felt that I didn't want something ke I believe in it, because me and my husband have decided that we want to homeschool our child, but that shouldn't be the case. It should come from him too. He should believe in it, you know. And he was too small to do that. So we decided that we will put him in, enroll him in a traditional school. The only thing that I saw is it should be closest to my home, because I didn't want him to travel far. So he went to a very traditional ICSE board school, very close by. Good school, no issues, nothing at all. But after a year, something really surprising happened, Sharmila. And the thing is that our son came to us this time, and he said, so we speak Marathi at home. He comes to us and says, "आई, आपली शाळा बेटर आहे. आपली शाळा चांगली आहे." म्हटलं, "What do you mean by आपली शाळा चांगली आहे? आपली शाळाच बेटर आहे." He was not able to explain, because by that time he was 6.5,
Mhm.
and he was not able to explain or pinpoint. But somewhere he tried to put on certain things. You know, what he tried to say is basically that the freedom that we have at home when we are learning, I'm not getting that at school.
Mhm.
We tried to find out if there were any negatives at school, because this boy has always been like, he loves friends, he loves people, all the teachers have always loved him. And then why did this happen? So we never wanted a negative impact. So till date, now it's been 4 years almost that we are homeschooling. uh, Till date, we have always reminded our son that if you ever feel like going back to school, we are open to that. So sometimes he gets scared and he asks us, why you want to send me back to school? You know, but we just keep reminding him. And he
Mhm.
has no negative thoughts about school. It's that, okay, schools are good, but we love something, that we love to learn our way. We love to read at our pace. We love to learn at our own pace. We love to study at our own pace. And that is the reason why we are homeschooling.
Mhm.
So we started it at a very positive note.
Wow, wow. I wish I had met you a long back because for us, it was my children who kept saying, my oldest, in fact, kept saying that, Mama, I don't want to go to school. I would rather be at home and look at my books or do my own things. And I kept saying,
Correct.
no, no, schooling is a must. How can you grow and learn without school?
Correct.
It took me 12 years. He was 12 when we started unschooling, but the benefit of
Correct.
that has come down to my other two, who
Yes,
the
the younger
second one
ones.
went till he was in he was going to go to grade 3 or grade 4 at that time. And the youngest has not been to school, and my youngest wants to go to school now. She looks at her friends around and says, Mama, everyone has something to do, and I can just do whatever I want. I want to go to school. So we are exploring that option. She doesn't like
Correct.
online schooling though, so that's where we are. So so lovely, lovely to know, the journey that you all took. You all let your son try out, and the decision was his. And this is actually what I call self-directed. The
Correct.
child is involved in every choice and every decision that is made, and the family, just the parents act as a support system to that
Absolutely.
curiosity or the way the child wants to go ahead in life. So that's amazing. And so that's about your homeschooling journey. We've also heard that you have not only mastered 22 languages and you speak them, you help in translations, you've translated books, you're also a foodie. and
Yes.
food becomes a major part of your learning experience also, or your homeschooling experience also.
Yes.
So could you share a little about, how you make food and cooking together a part of your
Yeah.
learning
So,
process?
well, the thing is that uh, food has always been an integral part of me. Yeah. So, when people ask me, how do you manage to do so many things? So I always say that it started with languages for me. Thanks to languages, I got to travel to a lot of places. Since I traveled to a lot of places and met a lot of people and locals, I always wanted to try local food. I was never the person who said, "Okay, oh Lord, what am I going to eat there? Let me carry my Indian food with me." The Indianness was always with me, but I always tried out and I always believed in going for local cuisines and trying that. And after trying it there, when you are back in your at your home, you want to try that out and make your family members try. Eat it. Okay, I have tried this, and maybe we should mix up this, and so it has always been a part of me. Not only food, I would say, then music, singing songs. Like I used to always tell my students when I used to teach that how do you keep in touch or how do you master? Yes, at this moment, yes, I have forgotten some things, and because I'm not in touch and I have devoted all of my time into homeschooling. But earlier, more of whenever I used to I wanted to be in touch with languages. I used to sing songs in those languages, which I now tell my son to. May it be Marathi, English, Hindi, whichever language you are learning, you want to learn, or maybe your mother tongue. You keep singing in the language, so you get to know the culture, the history. So all of this has always been like, it always went hand in hand and always been a part of it. And then came time when about food, like for example, so my mom has been a hardcore foodie and loves cooking, and I think it passed on to me and then to my son. And uh, again, I think in my family I'm blessed with men who are more feminist, so so the thing is that son is also in kitchen, and we strongly believe in homeschooling. If we are homeschooling, we can do so many things which otherwise we couldn't have. And chemistry lab, many parents had asked me, but how about the lab? I mean, we have kitchen, and kitchen is the most wonderful lab that we have. So make the best use of it. So may it be the normal routine cooking, or may it be experimenting something. Kitchen has been a very integral part of homeschooling.
Lovely. So,
That's how.
what are the different things that, different dishes that you and your son, or your son knows how to make? Eh? I believe he's also just
Uh,
10 years old now.
I sorry,
Is he 10 years
you.
old now?
I lost.
You've
He's nine
lost
and a
him?
half. Yes.
He's
Yeah,
nine and a
yeah,
half.
9.5.
Okay.
He's 9.5 now. Sharmila, I can proudly, really, I feel good and proud about this fact that if I give my son a day and tell him that today you need to manage the house, I think he can make the most basic batata bhaji, that is aloo ki sabzi, basic dough of roti, and he can make maps and try to make the roti. He
Mm,
can make dal chawal. He will be
mm.
and clean the vessels and everything. He will be able to load the washing machine and wash the clothes and dry it out on the clothes stand. He can mop the floor properly. I think these are very basic things, and these are life skills. irrespective of gender, age, and age, I would say yes. I mean, you can proceed age appropriate skills, try to
Mm.
introduce them to those. And then I think so. I don't think that certain things you need to say, ke, why you're not doing, or if you do this, I will give you a star reward, or you will get a some kind of reward. I don't think so. Firstly, I feel reward for life skills, or if you read a book, you'll get a chocolate or something. I think that
Mm.
rewarding, I personally do not believe in it, because I have always been the type that if you read, you will benefit and you will come to know the story. I think that's the that's the most beautiful reward. So similarly, if you know these skills, if you can cook by yourself, or if you can wash your own clothes, I think you won't need anyone's help. So that's the best reward. I mean, you will be independent. What more than that? But having said
Yeah.
that, if you ask me, I won't feel ashamed to tell you that if my son does not finish his plate, my mom will sit next to him and see to it that he eats it, and sometimes even feeds him. But when it comes to independence, he can do all of those things.
Yeah, yeah. I think behind feeding and ensuring a clean plate also is are our deep rooted values, because we have been, all of us who come from a middle
Yes,
class background have been taught right from our childhood to not waste. There are a lot of people who don't get food, so we should respect what is on our plate and ensure that we do justice to them. Yeah, yeah. So for us,
absolutely.
what we do follow is, we've started giving our children a free hand to serve for themselves. Take how much you want, and then
Correct.
you ensure that you finish what you have. That's true. And you brought out such an important point here. So often, people who homeschool have started feeling that homeschooling is about creating a school at home. And so you bring a curriculum, you bring in a schedule, and what happens is the mother ends up doing everything and is so tired and so taxed and so stressed out, whereas there's not much of a difference in the child's life, because the child's and then many a times the child starts feeling, oh, I was better off at school because I at least got
Absolutely.
to be with other children, and it my mother was my mother only and not my not a teacher too. So what you have brought out is so important, that homeschooling is not only about learning academic subjects, but it is about life
Correct.
skills and becoming independent. It is a journey towards
Yes.
becoming independent, slowly and steadily, step by step. And another point that you've made is about intrinsic motivation and not depending on external rewards, or not
Correct.
and on that same plane, not using threats and punishments as well as rewards and
Absolutely.
praises, and giving them a little chocolate here and a star there. So those are so
Yeah.
important points that you have
Yeah.
made. So, wow. So, one is your son is into a lot of household activities that make him
Yes.
independent being. He can manage a house by himself. Tell us more about what are his other interest areas and what are the other
Sure.
things that he loves doing.
Sure. I will talk on his interests. Meanwhile, I just recollected two more points while you were talking. That about one was about the stars and rewards, and the other thing was, uh, you know, uh, about being independent. So the stars and rewards thing, uh, I have always made it a point that I put stars on something where he goes wrong. For example, if we have solved a worksheet and he has solved, which we do very rare. I'm not a worksheet person, let me remind you. But anyway, if we have solved, or when, as and when we solve a worksheet, and wherever he's gone wrong, I put a star on it. I never put a cross, because I always feel, and even as a teacher, I always felt that if you put cross, what does cross mean? Cross means omit. You don't have to read that. You don't have to pay attention. What does star mean? Oh, VVIP, very, very, very important. So don't you think if you have gone wrong somewhere, it is extremely important to learn that? Because on one hand we say that you learn from your mistakes. Then if we are going to learn from our mistakes, then if the mistakes are on your test paper or your worksheet, why do we get a star only when we get 100? Why can't we get a star where wherever the question is wrong, the answer is wrong, you put a star next to it, and you, that's like a reminder, this is a star, that means it's extremely important, because you did not probably understand, or probably you thought it that this is something else, or whatever that has happened in the child's mind. Why not sit and work on it instead of
Yeah.
saying, "Arey, ye kaise galat ho gaya? Why did you get it wrong?" I believe in working on the mistakes rather than, so many a times in our self learning and self directed path, I always believe that wherever there are mistakes, we'll work on that. So you learn by yourself. Wherever you're stuck, wherever there are mistakes, I'm there. I will help you, I will guide you. We
Right.
will work on that. And most of the times, what happens is that working on those parts takes a lot of time. Trust me,
Yeah.
initially it was not easy for me to. Sometimes I used to go like, "Ye, isse acha hai, I will give him answer," because giving the answer is very easy. But to control yourselves and not give answer and be patient and wait for sometimes hours and days and months till he comes back to you with the answer. Today, I have reached that stage. But trust me, I have been impatient. I have thrown tantrums, and I have had my share of volcanic eruptions. Ke, why, what, and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And coming back to his likes and interests, well, before the lockdown and before this, it has always been, he's been a sports person completely. So maybe playing tennis for every evening for good 2 to 3 hours, and playing football every weekend for 4 hours. Apart from that, swimming, all of these things. And he has had lot of friends and huge groups at all these sport activities. So we are missing out on that, though luckily my
Yeah.
son has a lot of likes and interests. So even if we are at home right now, he's either painting or drawing, or also chit chatting with friends online, and
Mm.
doing all sort of things. And one more important thing which I just recollected about the independent thing, you rightly said, Sharmila, that mothers, especially mothers, they get tired at times, homeschooling moms. Why? Because you are having a schedule, you're managing your home, you're managing your homeschool, you're managing your child as a parent, and you're managing your other family commitments and all those things. And at the end of the day, you are so exhausted. Instead, why not make your child also part of the adulthood? And trust me, they love being adults, They love being, they love it when you say, like, I remember I used to always go to my son saying that, "Oh, I have this problem." I always call the problem solving is not just in on worksheets, but problem solving happens in real world. So go to them. Okay, अरे बापरे, आज एवढी आता लिंब आहेत, काय बरं करूया? You actually, you don't
Mm.
just use the phrase that throw lemons at them and they will make a lemonade. No, don't wait for that. You literally throw lemons at them. You literally throw boxes at them and let them come up with some beautiful ideas. And trust me, they have the
Yeah.
most wonderful ideas. So this
Yes.
is the best part about homeschooling, that you can customize each and everything, make them part of adulthood, give them real life experiences, and make them real life problem solvers. Because today, what life has taught all of us, the entire world, is that if we are good problem solvers, if we are good thinkers, then we can sustain such situations. And we are not going to require only coders, we are going to require real life problem solvers.
Yeah, yeah, that goes so much with this post that has become viral on
Sorry, I can't
social.
hear you.
Uh, okay, wait. Uh,
Hello.
I, Hello, yeah, you can hear me? No, I'm not on mute. Put myself again. Yeah, can you hear me now? Hello?
Should I leave the
Hello?
chat and join again?
No, one second, one second.
I'm
Let me
not able
just.
to hear at all.
Okay. Now I'll put myself back. I'll take you out. Put yourself back. Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay. So Amrita is having some internet issues and she'll be back. Um, so just waiting for Amrita to come back. Uh, yeah, there she is.
So,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So
Back.
that worked. I tried to take you off stream and put you back in, but that didn't
Yeah,
work.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Great. Yes. So, what I was saying is, yes, this coding thing has become a big viral thing on Facebook, and there have been so many posts around it. I remember when my son was around 10, and even I got into this whole that was about 2.5 years ago. I got into this, Arey, learn coding, that will help you, you'll be able to develop apps. And so we
Yeah.
signed up on this free program on code.org. Within two
Yes,
days, we had completed all the exercises up to
correct.
for around 12 to 14-year age group. And after that, he said, Mom, I don't want to do this anymore. This is not what I want to do in life. And then he gave up on it. But what I realized is what they taught at say 8 to 10 for 8 to 10 year olds. Actually, those kids could even do a lot more, or maybe some would do a little less. And then felt that why do we really want to get into such learning where you don't let the child go at their own pace, and even if he's faster or slower, just
Yes.
go and just enjoy that entire process.
In fact, Sharmila, at least the code.org is better because it's easier. It's easier. I wanted to put it as it's free and it's available there, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
today, coding, the sad part is it's become like a big business model,
Business.
another big business model.
True.
And there's nothing wrong in learning it, but my problem is that it should be if the child is interested. So as you rightly said, even my son a couple of years back, he was interested. We did code.org, and as you rightly put it, he learned in just a couple of hours. He was able to do a lot of things, and so we treated it like a game. But trust me, I spoke with real life coders, and they have said that that's nothing to do with like real life coding.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
a totally different ball game altogether.
True, true.
And for that, we need, again, like I said, problem solvers. So I feel all of us should work towards making good problem solvers, and they will be then phenomenal at whatever they do when and
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
they want to do.
Yes, yeah. And to even develop any apps, you need to, firstly, you need to have problem solving skills. You need to be
Correct.
able to reach to that level of solving problems, and which is possible only when you start solving your day to day problems, little, small issues that come into your life. And they might seem little to us as adults, but for the children at that point of time, they occupy their entire world, they occupy their
Absolutely.
entire space. Okay, we have a lot to chat about. There is an interesting question that has come on, so I'm going to just put it up. So I'm homeschooling my 4-year-old son, and sometimes I can't handle his tantrums to study. How do you manage? Yes, Amrita.
You know, sometimes I have a question. I will answer the question with a question. Like my son says, when I ask him a question, he says, "I let me answer your question with a question." So that's the way I'm going to handle situations now. Uh, in our case, many a times I have tantrums and my son has to handle. I don't know how he does that. So I feel when we feel that the child is not studying, it's the parents throwing the tantrums and not the child. I think this is the psychic homeschooling mom talking now. And I think 4 year old is not an age to study any which way. In Marathi I can put it as me abhyas virodhak ahe, that is I don't believe in studying, I believe in learning. So you should encourage more on learning. And how do you do that? You read, you do life skills, you do lot of things, you watch lot of things, you observe things, and you learn. And that's the best way to do it. So they don't have to study. If they are going to learn constantly, let them, teach them how to keep their eyes wide open, teach them how to look outside the window, teach them how to manage house, run
Yeah.
errands. And yeah, so I always, like, when my son was 4 years old, I remember my mom used to make him sit next to her, and he used to be peeling garlic. And that was the best. I think for motor skills, what toys should I get? No, just give them garlic, give them green peas,
Please.
dry clothes to fold and
Cool.
put it on place. I think these are the most wonderful things, and easiest and cheapest. You don't have to
Yeah.
spend, and your work gets done.
Mm. And I've also noticed that children usually love doing these things until we parents give them vibes that, Arey, go do something else, let me finish off my work.
Ah,
And then they
correct.
start getting used to it. And then they get these vibes that, no, I'm not supposed to be doing all these things. And then they stop. And then later,
Yes,
when we call them, then they don't want to come because they've already
correct,
set in their mind that they are not wanted here, and mama is calling us only for the sake of calling us,
correct.
so I agree so much. The tantrums are from our side. And with a 4 year old, I have a 6 year old daughter. 2 years ago, she would, we did nothing, no studies with her, nothing. But she was so inquisitive about everything around her
Yes,
that she by herself learned colors, learned about shapes, because, and we would always converse, we would talk a lot. So
correct,
through talking a lot with whatever is interesting her or even interesting me, is of great interest to me. Even talking about it itself, got that learning going. So
correct.
okay, so
And I think talking is the
okay,
best
so
thing,
that,
I mean, sometimes in our homeschool, so many a times people ask us, but what is it that's the schedule timetable that you follow? And many a times, me and my son are just conversing, and we are a big talkative family. So we all love talking. And when it comes to that, we all are just sitting and we talk, and talk. So, and there are so many things to
yeah.
learn from that.
Yes, yes. So now there is another question which says that, okay, I probably it's from the same viewer, says that, okay, he knows how to answer, but he will not answer, he will not write. He's just in junior KG.
So I
Oh, wow.
assume he goes to some school, and that must be the problem, because at home school it that this won't. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know.
this won't happen with a
This won't happen
homeschooler.
in a home
Also,
school.
with a 4 year old, their motor skills are yet developing. They're not yet strong enough to hold a pencil for long hour, for even
Correct.
10 minutes. Even 5 minutes is too much. And
Yes.
so, if he knows the answer, I think you should rejoice. That's
Correct.
what I would tell the parent. Rejoice that he knows the answer, but he will
Yeah.
not write. Be very happy that he's telling you, I'm not ready to write as yet. So be very
Absolutely.
happy. They communicate through different ways depending on what answers we are willing to take in as parents. So
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
and he will not answer as in, uh, I think we should, stop questioning them a lot. Instead, it should be more in the format. So probably we should change the formats. Even when my son went to school, the many parents used to ask me, ask Agastya what happened at school, because Agastya used to always come back and tell me things. But uh, the question was, how come he tells everything to you and the other children don't? So I always tell them that I never ask him questions, but the format has always been about storytelling, okay. I share my things with him, that what I did in my day. And even at homeschool, even if we are with each other the whole time, or I'm still sharing my things, okay, this happened, and this I couldn't do this, or something or the other is happening in our lives too. And if we share, I think they share, and that the conversations that happen gives us all the answers, so we don't have to really interrogate them. Okay, okay, tell me what is the capital of India and all those things. You don't need that, because
Yeah.
many a times these things are there, but if
Mhm.
you ask them and it doesn't come out, and then we say, oh, you don't know the answer, you don't know it's New Delhi.
Hmm.
I think it's too passe, and we have evolved. So let's all evolve and grow out of it.
Hmm. Right, right. In fact, I have an example with countries and capitals and states and capitals. So we had been to Delhi and with Tara when last year, and she wanted to know about Delhi. I said, "Do you know Delhi is the capital of India?" And she looked back at me, answering, "Capital? Is it like capital letters?" So she was just inquisitive because her mind understood
Yes,
capital as capital letters, and she could
correct.
not understand. And I realized that her at present she doesn't even understand what a capital is, and she wasn't interested in knowing. So we cut that topic there itself. I know that tomorrow, when she is interested in understanding what is this capitals and why do we have capital and so on, those questions will come. So
Correct.
yeah, so with young children, just follow their heart. Know that when they themselves tell us when they are interested to know more,
Yes.
or whether they are not interested to. So we have to really be aware and open, and our observation skills have to be all round. They have to just be there. Yeah. So there's one more question. I'm going to take that. So I have a 7-year-old who hates writing. Have been working on her fine motor skills since she's 5. Still the same thing. How to handle?
I have a question to the question. My son is 9.5 years old. He still doesn't like writing. How do I handle it? I don't know. And I think writing as in what? So if I tell him, so my son blogs, and he writes pretty well, So though his spellings, I tell you, he is terrible with spellings, because I never did the rote learning with him. Until date, he is really bad at spellings, and sometimes I feel ashamed. Or should I feel ashamed, or should I not? I don't know. That's another question. But sometimes I go like, oh God, really? He really can't spell that word. But it's okay, because he reads a lot, a lot. He reads like really fat books, and he writes beautifully. But I don't expect him to write as in write solve worksheets, write as in solve 100 sums or something like that. Writes as in, I have told him and got into the habit that whatever comes to your mind, put it in your diary. If whenever we travel, keep it like a memoir, maintain that, so that will just help you. And that habit has made him develop that love for writing. So he writes as in writes creatively, but he doesn't write as in, if I expect him to, okay, did you write so many pages or something, then the answer will be no. He doesn't write, he gets bored, and he'll say, okay, no baba, I don't want to write.
Yeah, I think we should all go back to our childhood and think about how much did we ever like writing. Probably, in a
Exactly,
class of
exactly.
30, 35, maybe a handful or maybe less than a handful, maybe two or three liked writing. The rest of us used to consider it a big drag. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So I guess, with this question that has come up, I would just like to tell this viewer that maybe you're working too hard and it's time to give it a break. So when my son was small, he had the habit of sucking his thumb, and I used to get really anxious about it, and I felt that it's going to be a lifelong habit. So the doctor told me, you stop getting anxious, ignore it, and get out of that situation. And soon he'll be out of thumb sucking. In fact, that's the advice that I would give you. Stop bothering about it. I'm sure this little girl will soon, feel comfortable and get back to writing whenever she's ready for it. So, yeah, yeah. So, we have a lot to
And
talk about,
what you said
especially.
is correct, Sharmila. Sorry.
No, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So what you said is correct that many a times we worry a lot about certain things. Like I was explaining you about the spelling thing. So the day I stopped fussing over it and brainstorming over it, my son loved and started reading a lot. So he has always loved books, but then there came a phase where I started to bother him a bit with spellings, and I felt that he should know at least the basic ones. And what was that basic criteria? Who has decided that criteria? I mean, how can I? But for
Hmm.
me too, to understand that, it took some time. But the day I understood that, my son started reading and he started to love reading. And today he can sit through an entire book and he does not want to get up until he finishes the book.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
yes,
Wow. See.
the day we stop bothering them, they are doing something brilliant.
Yes, yeah. So most often it's probably rebel, or it's probably affecting their mindset, and they feel that no, we don't want to go into this area which makes our mom anxious or makes our mom really stressed or stresses our mom out. So they try to avoid it. So once we stop getting anxious about it, they
Correct.
come out of it, they feel comfortable, and you have to give time. Yes. So, since we are talking about writing and so on, I think let's talk a little about how language skills develop among children. Um, can you hear me, Amrita? Because I think you're frozen. Okay, we'll wait for Amrita to get back. She probably has a little bit of internet connectivity issues. Yes. So there's another question that is coming up, whether we should follow a curriculum. I'll answer in my own way until Amrita is back. I say with younger children, uh, just follow their curiosity and whatever they want to learn. And as they grow, maybe if you want to adopt a homeschooling way of doing things, then you can introduce textbooks and so on as they grow a little older. Amrita is coming back, so we will hear from her too. Okay, yeah, there she is. Okay.
Sorry, I'm I'm back.
Yes, I think you do have some internet issues out there.
You can't hear
Yeah.
me?
Okay, I can. There is a little lag. Um,
Okay.
Okay. So I was just looking at this next question that came in while you were not there, which is about whether we should follow a curriculum. And I just answered that, for younger children, I believe that you need to just let them guide you, their curiosity guide you. However, as they grow older, if you want to
Correct.
go the homeschooling way, maybe slowly, steadily introduce textbooks which maybe get them to choose what they would like as their textbooks and go ahead. So would you like to share your
Correct.
experiences
Yes.
for the curriculums? Yeah.
It's just the way you said it, Sharmila. So initially, though, when I started homeschooling, I too had bought all the textbooks, and I was trying to figure out which curriculum and what. And then soon, I discovered that why should I read these boring English textbook when I can use any wonderful classic or a wonderful book as my English curriculum, for example. So then that is the time I started curating and customizing my own curriculums as per my child's needs and requirements. So ours is a blend of books and stories and curriculums across different boards and everything available. And it's not just the school books that we use, but we refer to a lot of things which are not used in schools at all.
Okay. Yeah. So after, since we're talking about curriculums now, I'm quite eager to go into a discussion around how language development takes place among children. Being, a person who knows so many different languages and so many, and has a son whom you are right now teaching, and you know his uh, places where he has to yet learn, like his spellings and all that, but yet you make it a
Correct.
joyful experience and not let that bother you. So could you share with our viewers as to how
So
does language development take place among children? Yeah.
yes. So many a times, these days there's a big wave. Just like we spoke about coding, there's also another wave where the parents start teaching their children foreign language at a very young age. Now the
Mm.
thing is that, okay, the study says that if you teach languages to children, to young children, they can grasp it faster, they can learn faster, and they will start speaking the language faster than any older person would, which is true and which is correct. Now the question here is it the language that the child is learning naturally? What do you mean by naturally? Naturally means in natural environment, not in an artificial environment. A child, when you enroll the child to learn something at a class, to learn a foreign language, that means it's artificial learning. And if you're going to learn it artificially, it means that, hello, hello, hello,
Uh,
are we still on?
there,
Hello?
yeah, I'm there. I just put you on the spotlight so that people could hear this, uh,
Oh,
from
pro-
you. So probably, which is
okay,
why
okay,
you
okay. I
didn't
thought
see
I
me.
was lost again. I'm
No,
sorry, my
no, no, no.
bad.
No, no, no problem. No
So,
problem. You can continue.
the language thing, yeah, so the language thing, if it is in the natural environment, for example, what is natural environment? What you hear everywhere around you, right? So that makes what the mother tongue is the primary language, right? If you are blessed with a mother and father speaking two different tongues, then your child will be blessed with learning two different languages since birth. Then there are people around you, your neighbors, your friends, they are speaking some different language. Your child is exposed to that environment, your child learns that language. This is natural environment, and this is the exact reason for, you will realize that if you are living abroad somewhere, maybe Germany, and then you are learning it, but your child adapts to it. You're in America, your child speaks English in an American accent, whereas you are speaking still in your Indian accent. The thing is that a child can learn a language at an early age only if he is exposed to the natural environment. And this is the natural environment. If you are going to enroll your child into some classes and then make your child learn that foreign language, then I would say wait till your child is in primary level, he or she starts understanding his mother tongue well, has knowledge of at least a couple of languages which are around your child, and then enroll them into a foreign language course and start teaching them. So yeah, over to you, Sharmila. So I think this
Yeah.
is the way how it should progress,
Yeah.
the language
Yes.
learning.
Yes, yes. So natural languages that are there in your natural environment, children will pick them up. However, if you force feed
Fast.
language development, it is tough, especially for younger children. Maybe as they grow older and they
Yes.
understand, you know, they
Because
understand
that is the
language
time they
as
will
a means of
understand the
communication.
grammar, the
Yes.
syntax.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
So,
what they are going to do is just, repeat, and you are going to say, okay, what is blue in French? And they will say bleu. But they are not going to understand why it is such an. Uh, so even languages and or anything that you learn, for that matter, anything that you learn, there should be reasoning behind it. If my child is going to know all the capitals and state capitals and country capitals and world capitals, then he should understand the reasoning behind it. Why does South Africa have three capitals? Why is it something like that? He or she should understand the reasoning behind each and everything they learn. Otherwise, the learning process, I mean, I personally won't be happy if there are no
right.
whys.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Unless it makes sense to you, it doesn't make sense at all. It's that way. So,
Because it's just repeating.
yeah. Okay, you're breaking midways, Amrita. So I'm not sure. Okay, can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
can
I
hear
could
you.
hear.
Yes. Can you
Okay,
hear me?
okay. Yes, yes, now you're clearer. Okay,
Okay.
so, there has
Okay.
always been these questions. This is my personal question also. And now that Tara is also 6 years old and she's taking keen interest in learning to read and write, what is your take on phonics, as a way to learn English as such?
That's another. I don't know. I mean, frankly, see, it's a good method, and I would say pick and choose and select something that will suit your child's needs. So we did do a bit of phonics initially, but later on, it was more of reading and that helped him. To tell you
Mm,
honestly,
right.
I'm not really against phonics, but it's a massive controversial topic. I mean,
Mm,
there are people who really vouch by the method, and me being a linguist and polyglot that I am, I still feel that because English is so not a phonetic language, it is not I mean, like Marathi or Hindi, which are such strong
mm,
phonetic languages. Even for that matter, Spanish or Japanese, these are sound based languages. And English
mm.
is not primarily, which is only dependent on all the sounds. And if it is Go, go, and To, too,
Two.
then it is
Yeah,
not. And
yeah.
hence phonics is going to help you up to a certain level, but after that it has to be more on reading and conversations. So again, like what we said earlier, conversations is something that helps. And if at home, but that doesn't mean that you forget your mother tongue and you start focusing on English, you speak only in English. So like my son speaks really good English, and people most of the times wonder that, acha mag Marathi yet nahi ka? And he constantly gets that question. Sometimes it's really annoying for me, but he speaks really good Marathi. In fact, yes, I would love to share a small incident. Just yesterday, we were talking about something. So we are blessed with wonderful nature right outside my window here, and we get some wonderful birds here. And there was this egret, and someone asked him that egret. अच्छा, म्हणजे कोणता नेमका? अँड ही वॉज लाईक, म्हणजे तो बगड्याच्या जातीतला, यु नो. अँड आय वॉज
Hmm.
लाईक, रिअली ही स्पोक दॅट काइंड ऑफ मराठी? But that's
Yeah,
how they
yeah.
amaze you. And this is the
Hmm.
only, this could be if he was only a person who read Marathi in books. This is because we converse in Marathi at home. So I
Hmm.
say that you converse in your mother tongue. You, okay, English you can't avoid today, because today it is become the world's most popular or used language, and today business language has become English. You like it, you don't like it, you want to agree to it, you don't want to agree to it, but it is what it is. And if that is the case, then you want to develop your English skills, go, and there is no one at home to guide you with it, teach you that language, then go on YouTube, and there are some wonderful videos which you can, which can help you, and there are some wonderful apps with which you can repeat and check your pronunciations. So yes, make the best use of technology for that. But wherever it comes to homeschooling or schooling, and whether languages, which language should be a part of it, mother tongue has to be a crucial part of it. You should use a lot of mother tongue. Use natural environment languages, learn the languages from your neighbors, because I strongly feel we Indians are born polyglots. We are exposed to a lot of languages since our birth. Learn those first and then jump to foreign languages.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's such important messages that you have given. I just hope that parents these days do mingle with their neighborhoods to in order to meet all the Gujaratis and the Marwadis and the Telugus and the Tamilians, because you have people speaking a
Yes,
variety of languages, especially when you're if you live in a metropolitan city like say Bombay, Madras, or
correct.
Chennai or Delhi, or now even small towns. Now even smaller towns
Pune.
have got a
Yes.
Pune, for instance, and many others have a multicultural and a multilingual population staying here. So I think it's up to us as to how far we reclaim languages and not make English the main language that is accepted and known language everywhere. It's completely up to us. Yeah, I must say that my children are more on English than their mother tongue, Marathi. Yeah, though they know how to speak, they communicate with their grandparents in Marathi, and they'll communicate with whoever asks them questions in Marathi. But I guess they have become comfortable talking to me in English, which I have been trying to break also. So I talk back in Marathi. So at least they know that, yes. But yes, this is something that we have to think about as parents and responsible citizens and somebody who loves our own country. So I'm going to ask our viewers to put down more questions if they have any. We are close to finishing 1 hour. Yeah, but so viewers, please, if you'll have any questions, do who put them down. We will extend by another few minutes in case you'll have questions. Uh, yeah. I don't see any questions coming up. Otherwise, they come up promptly. But we did get a string of questions some time ago.
Yes.
Um, yeah, so I'd like to move on to the last segment of our interaction. And could you tell, suppose if new homeschooling parents ask you for tips and strategies of how do we start? That's the question that I'm also often asked. So would you like to share something about how do you start homeschooling?
Sure, sure. So when I started homeschooling, I too had questions, or rather, when I started, or should I put it as when I wanted to start, I too had spoken with a couple of homeschoolers, and this is what even they said, that just take the day as it comes. just follow your child's likes and interests and passion, and let your child direct you. And that's exactly what we have been doing. Homeschooling gives us the freedom to customize education as per our child's requirements, make the best use of it instead of standardizing or thinking that okay, this is what a 5-year-old must know, this is what a 6-year-old has to know, this is what a 10-year-old should write. Instead of saying these things, let's try to mold our thoughts first. Let's try to unlearn in order to make our next generation learn something new, because uh, they are blank slate, you know, they are going to observe us and learn more than what we teach them, because
Mm.
we can keep teaching them n number of things, but if we ourselves don't follow those things, they are not going to learn that. So homeschooling has given us the freedom and time to customize education, to make, to teach our children life skills. I think that's the best thing that you can give to your child, and make them great problem solvers. And how do you do all of this? Not by making another school at home, not by giving them a structure and timetable and those things. Instead, make, have a more, you know, like a free environment where they are learning by themselves, where they are self motivated, where, you know, many people ask me ke, uh, does Agastya come up, you know, when you tell him ke chalo let's study, does he say that I'm bored? So I many a times tell them, and it's hard to believe, but it is true, that he comes to me and says that आई चल ना अभ्यासाला बसूया, or आई चल
Mm.
मला आज हे शिकव, किंवा I found out this and I don't know what this is, please help me. You know, he comes to me and says things, or for that matter, Sharmila, you won't believe, he has certain things he makes, you know, small things from waste, and he's a innovator and recycler from our at our place. So he comes up with these things, and then he says, I zara has a video shooting car and put it on YouTube, you know. So that is the time I do it. But it is hard to
Mm.
believe for people, but it is true, and it is self driven, and it is self motivated. But
Mm.
if you give your child that chance, I'm sure any child will come up with whatever he or she likes and loves. The only problem is we should be ready to accept what are his likings and what are his thoughts. And if we are
Yeah.
ready, the day we are accept it, you know, and the day we stop throwing tantrums, we all progress beautifully.
Yeah, that's so true, and I see that happening at home too. My older children are much older; they are independent and they do things on their own. But yes, there are many a times when they, they'll call out suddenly and say, "See, Mama, what I've created," and see, you have to tell me more. Or if they have a pressing question and they come and tell me, "Oh, I need to know how this happens and why is this the case," and then I say, "Go Google," and they say, I wish Google was never there and we could just sit and find our answers together. So, yes, and with my daughter, she has so many questions. She has so many questions, and that has led us to find answers to so many things and get into so many different things. So we are going to Pondicherry next week, and during one of our conversations, we spoke about tsunami happening in Pondicherry a few years ago, and she was totally, that word tsunami caught her attention, and she has been watching videos and seeing things, and she's been asking questions and asking me, okay, so what I'm going to do if a tsunami comes? You have to do step one this, step two this, step three this. And there have been survivors by holding on to logs and so on. So learning really takes place in such a beautiful way when we really give them that space to express, to explore. And lovely, lovely. So we have a couple of questions. So let's take those. Will homeschooling
Sure.
kids take exams of ninth and 10th? How will we prepare the kids for that? So I know your son is
Yeah.
not
You want to
reached
answer
that
that?
age.
I
Uh,
know. I mean, I know the answer, but my son is too small, so probably your son is that age. You want to take that?
yes,
I'm
yeah,
okay.
yeah. So for us, we have not forced our children to take exams. In fact, a few months ago, I was into this whole thing कि अरे कुछ नहीं तो at least give your 10th and 12th. That will broaden your scope, open up a whole new world for you. So my son initially agreed to it, but somewhere deep down I realized that his heart wasn't into it. He was not completely ready for doing his starting to prepare for his 10th exams. And now we are in a situation where he has got an opportunity, a lovely opportunity to work with another unschooler in the area of advertising and media, and which is why he's going to go for an internship for about a few months. So we are going to give it a month at a time and see whether he likes it and whether he wants to continue it. So yeah, I think it's what I realized in this entire journey is that it is his choice. It is his life and it is his choice. I am not the one to control. I do not have the right to decide for him. I have to stand by him through his decisions and support him and help him see through his experiences and reason them out and come out stronger. So that's how I look at
Absolutely.
my this. So I know that it's not necessary, though the entire world feels that certification and higher education leads to jobs. I think I think that's something. If when my son feels the need for it, he would go for it. Is what I have realized. So
Correct.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So, and I'm answering to that. I mean, yes, kids can appear for boards, and they have a lot of options, right? IGCSE and NIOS and
yeah,
MIOS and SSC, and they can always appear for the board exams just like the other kids, if that's what
right, yeah, yeah.
they are
So
worried of.
yeah, let's take this last question before we wind up. We've overshot by 7 minutes.
Okay.
Uh, my kid misses
Sure.
going to school and miss their friends to play with. That makes me rethink my decision of homeschooling. Does everybody go through it? If yes, how to deal with it? Even evening 1 hour in the park is not enough for them with their friends.
Okay.
So I guess the question is more
Well,
about
for
finding
me,
friends. Mm, yeah.
socializing, yeah, yeah. So for me, in our case, what has happened is, like I said earlier, my son experienced school and then he came back to us and we started doing all of this. Though he has always been a sports, so he's been an extremely athletic, a sports person. So maybe tennis and football and swimming, and he had a lot of friends. So it was not just one evening 1 hour at park, but it was good 2 to 3 hours of hardcore tennis on the tennis grounds where I was not around. I was not around, as in I used to drop him, and I used to be somewhere else, and he used to just be with him and his friends, and maybe at football. So it was just him and his friends. So I always made it a point whenever he is there. And so I think now the situation is completely different. But what I'm trying to say is that if whenever time, whatever time you get, and you can let your children just play with the other children, that is the best time. You don't interfere, and you don't have to be too much into it. Then the child feels that he gets his time, because at the end of the day, obviously your child is going to require some friends around. They are going to require their me time and their own space. So try to give that, and then you can try if the outlook changes. But if he truly loves going to school, then why not school?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah.
mean, it can't be that. So when we are saying it's self-driven, and if the child really wants to uh, be at school and then lead the learn, then why force our principles on the child?
True. In fact, that's what I was going to say. If your child wants to go to school, I think you must. It's like my daughter wanting to go to school, and we tried
Correct.
online schooling, and she didn't like it. Now we are waiting for schools to reopen so that she takes admission in some school and experiences it. I think it's their right. It's their right. She's
Correct.
demanding an experience,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
I cannot deny that experience to her. So yes, just homeschooling or unschooling is about following and being sensitive and empathetic towards what your child wants, and it is not about what they have to do. So if homeschooling becomes a have to do thing, then I think we are missing the boat. We are getting it all wrong. So yeah, that's my take on it. And Amrita, would you like to share some last words? So before we wind up and close.
I think you summed it up beautifully, so it need not be a must and have thing, whereas let it be, again, like we call it swashikshan, and let it be self learning, self studying, self motivating journey, and then it will be a very enjoyable journey.
Yeah, yeah. So focus on the journey, viewers, and that's what Amrita is doing, and that's why she looks so happy and lively, and she's got so much to say and so much to express. And you must follow her blog, The Homeschooling Diary, right? And that's an
Yes.
amazing resource. She not only shares videos but also certain worksheets, any resource that she comes across and feels that it's helpful to the child, she'll post it on her blog, and it's a wonderful resource. So please do visit her page, the homeschooling diary, right? And oh, thank you, Amrita. I did not cover, everything that I have learned from you, but I think I get this
The time
entire
always falls short,
from you.
in such
Yeah,
beautiful conversations, Sharmila. In
yeah,
fact, I
yeah.
too loved talking to you. And like you said, we have never met, but whatever conversations we had over the phone, and there was a connection because we were on the same page. We were, though you're an unschooler, I'm a homeschooler, we still follow similar paths, and our thought process matched somewhere, and that's how we are where we are today.
Yes, definitely.
So
So
thank you so much, Sharmila and Homeschooling India, for inviting me.
yeah, you're welcome, Amrita, and we hope parents, if you all have any more questions, do reach out to Amrita. Do visit her blog. Once the session ends, I will put up the link of her blog on in the comment section so that you all don't miss out on it. And thank you so much for viewing. I have had a wonderful time chatting with Amrita. So thank you, Amrita. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.